The people of Reddit are some of the most funniest people in the entire world.
Simple piece of advice, if followed, could potentially save most people a lot of money. A cab ride is a lot cheaper than a DUI. Learn the difference between need and want. I need moonshows. I want a job. Am I doing good? Don't buy it right now. Buy it next week. You'll probably forget about half the stuff you'd have thrown your money at in the spur of the moment. But this game on Steam is only one day on sale. Only buy things on sale if they are already on your wish list. Like, this is the most basic and obvious, but most transgressed rule of savings. It's not a sale. If you had no intention of buying the good/service to begin with, you didn't save 50% on that shirt you didn't need. You spent half as much as you normally would have spent. My mom is so bad for this. Well, it's cheaper to buy 2. No, mom, it's cheaper to buy 0. Pack a lunch.
I like that shit. That was very good actually. If you had no intention of buying that thing in the first place, you didn't save 50%. You spend 50% more than you would have. I was like, I like that. I like that shit. That was good. That was good.
Oh wow. Oh wow. Oh my god. Oh my god. I can't.
My usual framework as a consumer or as a person in the economy of the world is I ask myself, am I making money by buying this, right? Is this gonna make me more money? Let's say I buy a YouTube editing software. I'm gonna use it to make more money. Or is this gonna, although I'm buying it now, is it gonna save me more money in the long run? For example, I buy a little bit of a higher quality shoe at a higher price point so that the shoe will last me for a longer period of time, as opposed to buying maybe a $20 shoe or $30 shoe that may not last me as long, you know what I'm saying? Or am I just losing money by buying this thing? Like, there's no real value I'm getting out of this thing. It's a liability, it's a loss, it's not an asset. Ask yourself, is it as an asset or a liability? And then I always ask myself, how long would it take me to make the money back from this purchase, right? 10 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours, maybe you're working a $20 per hour job. Okay, and this thing costs $100. Is this thing worth 4 or 5 hours of your life? If you can be comfortable with that, sure.
Cheaper and healthier. I just packed a brown bag full of Twinkies. I'm on my way to a healthier lifestyle. I packed lobster thermidor and gummy worms. Don't go to grad school unless someone else pays for it. Absolutely yes. Also, don't let your research advisor treat you like a slave. You don't get paid enough for that shit. I paid for my own grad school, and it was a financially responsible decision. One of the best financial decisions I've made, in fact. Quit smoking. I'm going to take up smoking and then give that up. You are going to save a fortune. According to my smoking app, I quit 198 days ago and have saved $4,774. I'm at £2,467.50 on mine. I'm trying to figure out how to withdraw funds from the app. I really need it now to pay off some loans, and neither the app makers nor Google Play are answering my emails. I once heard a joke along these lines. A couple of guys were standing in line at a convenience store. The first guy in line asks the clerk for a pack of smokes. The clerk rings them up at $10. Incredulous, the guy behind him asks, "How much do you smoke?" The first guy replies, "I've been smoking 2 packs a day for 10 years. The second guy asks, "How can you afford that?" "I'm used to it," he replies. Doing some quick mental calculations, the second guy says, "You know, with all of that money you've spent on cigarettes, you could have bought a Ferrari by now." Looking out in the parking lot, the first guy asks, "So you're a non-smoker, I take it?" The second guy smugly says yep. Without missing a beat, the smoker asks, "So then where's your Ferrari, asshole?" For the youngins, really think about if you want to go to
LOL. That was a long ass joke, but it wasn't too funny, but it was eye opening. That's the other thing, right? Addiction. Well, not even addiction per se. Maybe not all of us are necessarily addicted, but just the alcohol, the marijuana, and to a lesser extent, watching adult content. When you watch adult websites, it's not really like, it doesn't really cost you money unless you're trying to pay for OnlyFans, which I don't understand. But you lose a lot of productivity and focus because your brain is always on when you're gonna get the next high, when you're gonna get the next buzz, you know what I'm saying? So with alcohol, marijuana, the tobacco, and nicotine in general, the 3 major substances used worldwide, you're losing the time that it takes to get the thing. Maybe it's illegal in your state, or it's not It's not easily accessible, and you're also definitely losing the money, right? The money is just, it's a liability. That's what I'm saying, right? Honestly, I don't agree with nicotine. I see no benefits in nicotine, and for the most part, I see no benefits in alcohol. I could see marijuana maybe once or twice a week tops. But the daily thing, when these things become a daily thing, that's when you can see many of the negative side effects, not only in your money, but also in your over dependency and reliance on these substances to feel normal, right? Because when you use it, your brain has to adjust and acclimate to this new level of homeostasis. And then when you no longer use it, regular life is boring, right? So arguably the best way to counteract, let's say you're trying to quit, the best way to counteract the withdrawal symptoms you'll experience from marijuana, alcohol, or even nicotine is exercise.
By working out, by exercising, by having mild stress on the body, we are training the brain to become more resilient, which is exactly why we feel so good. Stress literally doesn't affect us as much because the BDNF has put this protective layer around the brain cells so they don't get affected as badly. It's truly remarkable, and it actually has effects that stick. So even when you're working out and you feel amazing and then you kind of come down from that workout high, you're still at a baseline that's higher than you were before. Each and every time you work out and you increase that BDNF, you are increasing your brain cells' resilience. So that little bit of stress that you put yourself through is doing amazing things in terms of getting you, well, high, so to speak.
Exercise is the biggest cure, right? Every morning, do a 5 to 10 minute exercise. And if you work out that day, sure, work out. But every day, do a 5 to 10 minutes of exercise so that you can naturally spike your dopamine levels in the form of exercise as opposed to marijuana or all these other substances. There are whole programs. I have a whole program linked in the description on how to quit marijuana, how to quit alcohol, and how to quit nicotine. Check it out in the description and pinned comment of this video.
It's not for everyone. There's a lot of opportunities in the skilled trades now. If you're into one of them, college can put you into major debt, so make sure you want to make the investment beforehand. Edit. Please don't confuse not going to college with choosing not to get an education. In America, there seems to be a huge push for getting a traditional college degree. What I'm suggesting is that people consider going to trade school if traditional college doesn't interest them. There are opportunities out there for heavy equipment operators. The list goes on. Maybe check into something like these if you find it interesting. Not everyone finds traditional colleges and universities stimulating enough. Doesn't mean it's wrong. Just weigh your options first.
I like that. It's very nuanced. That comment was very nuanced. I like that shit. I've always been a proponent, if I could do it again, I would actually do school part-time. Maybe take 2 or 3 classes per semester, right? I think the average university course, I think costs, like per course, costs like few $100s or maybe $400. I'll probably show some actual statistics here, but I'd rather be a part-time student, work on the side, maybe while also doing YouTube or full-time or whatever it is, and then gradually I'm able to not be in as much debt by the time I graduate, despite the fact that I will graduate at a later date, you know what I'm saying? And definitely the blue collar workers, I have a whole video, I'll make a video on blue collar versus white collar, because blue collar people do not get enough love. No cap.
You can't afford it now, you probably won't be able to afford it when the credit card statement comes. Corollary to this, if you can't make a decision between one thing or another, or whether or not you can afford it, sleep on it 90% of the time. When I do this, I end up deciding not to get whatever it is. It's one thing to have it in your hand, or in your Amazon cart, because usually we can talk ourselves into anything. Once you disconnect yourself from the temptation, it's easier to think rationally and make the decision to hold off. Take a breath, people. It'll save you money and regret. Masturbate, then decide in the post-fap clarity.
What did you say, nigga?
Post-nut clarity, man. Post-nut clarity. Post-nut clarity. Post-nut clarity. Basic framework in terms of like credit card management is don't use more than 30% of your credit card limit. If you have a $10,000 credit card, don't use more than 30% of your credit card limit. That means don't use more than $3,000. And usually, I usually would say have the money already in your bank account. before you make that purchase. Don't make purchases for money that is to come in the future, right? Especially if you were trying to do a business, you think you make a profit on this thing, but then it doesn't pan out, and now you have debt, right? So always make your payments a day or two before. And if you currently are in credit card debt and you don't know how to get out, you can do a debt settlement approach with your bank to get out of debt quicker. I have a whole video goes into a lot more detail about debt consolidation and credit card debt settlement in the cards up here, or I'll also leave in the description, pinned comment. But debt settlement is one of the quickest ways for you to get out of credit card debt, and you could save a ton of money in interest. Let's say you have $20,000 of credit card debt, you could arguably settle it for $8,000 or even a little bit lower, right? I'll go into a lot more detail in my other video. Check it out.
Don't buy an $8 coffee every morning. Buy an espresso machine. Learn to use it. Problem solved. I spend less time than I would have in Starbucks. Also, where the duck are you finding $8 beverages? Pay yourself first. When you get paid, systematically put them into savings. Decide your percentage beforehand, 10% for example, and do it every time. Treat yourself to a secure and comfortable future. I could be mistaken.
Treat yourself to a secure and comfortable future. Yep, pay yourself first. That's probably like the most basic, primary way to be financially stable. Because already, when you pay yourself first, let's say 30%, you're already living below your means. Like now you only have 70% of your income that you're dealing with. And then you look at, okay, your Wi-Fi. Is there a way I can get a better deal on my Wi-Fi? Is there a way I can better deal on my phone bill? Like maybe you threaten to leave and find a different company, and then they'll give you a discount for like a year or two or some shit like that, right? And then what other fixed expenses can you cut away? And then go work with the rest of your budget. But paying yourself first, you'll notice within like 3 months, 6 months, a year, okay, I have a decent amount of money in my savings that I can, you know, get my own apartment, buy a house, get a car, etc., etc.
But I remember reading in a similar thread that you should clear your browser cookies when buying a plane ticket online. Apparently they use cookies to keep track of how many times you check the price of that particular flight and make it more expensive, so you panic and buy it. Therefore clearing the cookies takes away that extra charge. I could just be making shut up, but I'm pretty sure I remember this. Yeah, this is true. My friend and I heard about it and tried it to see if there was any truth. He looked up a certain airfare, and then a couple of hours later he looked it up again. It had gone up nearly $100. He messaged me and got me to go and look up the exact same fare, and it was the original price he had found it for in the first place on my computer. Bastards. I'm a professor. Go to community college first. You can afford to say, duck it not for me without being in an investment trap. You can still learn valuable critical thinking skills and learn about the social ailments of the world. In fact, from my experience, CC profs are often more active and concerned about social justice issues than higher up the ivory tower. You have access to CTE, career and technical education, programs which can set you up with great careers. And if you decide 4-year university is for you, you can do your general education requirements and transfer with ease to your local university and save a boatload of money. People don't realize, when they are struggling through a 200-person physics course at a university with an absentee prof and apathetic TARs, that they can drive down the road and pay a fourth of the cost to learn the same material in a class of 40 with a prof that cares. And CCs always have transferability arrangements with the nearby universities, meaning they spoon feed you this option.
I also like the idea of throughout your university degree. I know this is a big ask because a lot of college students are essentially broke, but have in mind that you are gonna pay this money back. Like the student loans, maybe every month you put away $5, $10, or a percentage of your income, maybe 1% of your payments, your deposits, directly into your savings account or a separate account for the future student loan payments that you will make. So instead of maybe having $20,000 in student loans, no income at the moment, and no savings, you have maybe no income, but maybe $5,000 saved up over the course of 4 or 5 years, or however long it takes you to graduate, to make those payments by the time, you know, the Sally Mae, OSAP, or whatever starts calling you. That's something to think about.
Buy cars in cash and live in smaller houses. Sure, you can save $1 or $2 here or there on coffee or packing lunches, but the big money is in transportation and housing. You can save many hundreds of dollars per month buying used cars in cash, vs leasing or financing, and lowering your rent/mortgage and household utilities by buying smaller housing.
I like that shit too. Financing a car is not the wave. Shombo, lend me your ear, brethren. Darlings and brethren, lend me your ear. Hear ye, hear ye.
Good people who have traveled from villages near and far, lend me your ears.
Do not bother financing a car. For most people, it doesn't make sense to finance a car. It makes sense to buy a used car, use it for like a year or two, whatever, however long you can use it, and then the payments you would be making towards financing that car, you pay it to yourself. That means, let's say if you finance the car, maybe you'd be paying $500 per month, and let's say instead of paying it to the car insurance, whatever it is, to the dealer, you pay yourself $500 per month, and now within 10 months you have $5,000 saved up, and now you can sell your used car. Maybe it is worth, I don't know, $6,000. You have $5,000 saved up. Now you can buy an $11,000 car or some shit like that, you know?
You use it often, and it's not perishable. Buy in bulk, especially if it's on special. I've seen guys waste money coming in week after week for a few razor blades, or 3-pack instead of a 12-pack, purely because the small pack is cheaper. No bro, work it out per blade and the 12-pack is cheaper. This works with almost 90% of goods. The little price in the corner of the price tag on the shelf is the unit price. Compare the little numbers, not the big ones. Ditch cable TV. Make your own meals. Don't eat out. Eating someone out doesn't cost anything. Don't procreate. $2 for a condom is better than 18 years of child support. You can get them for free at the depth of public health. Children.
What did I tell you, bro? What did I tell you? The people on Reddit are comedians, bro. That's tough. That's crazy, bro. That's crazy. That's crazy.
Take your credit card, put it in a Ziploc bag, put that in a Tupperware, fill it with water, stick it in the freezer. If you still want to buy something by the time your credit card thaws out, go for it. I'm a bit late to the party, but for impulse buyers like me, this is a really good tip. When you're thinking about buying something you don't necessarily need, imagine somebody offering you the thing in one hand and what it costs in cash in the other. If you would take the cash over the thing from this imaginary stranger, you probably shouldn't buy the thing. Don't get in credit card debt, especially store cards. I'm looking at you, Walmart. Some of these cards have interest rates of 18%. I watched a girl get fucked over hard with store cards once. I worked at Best Buy, and this young girl and 3 young guys came in. The girl wanted to open up a store card. Naturally, we were suspicious as they all appeared under 18. We checked and double checked the info she gave us, and the bank said she was good to go. She was given a card with 4.5%, or about that, APR, and a $3,000 limit, and no interest for 6 months, if I recall. She went about bought a PS3, PSP, games and accessories for each of the guys she was with. Turns out they were her BF and his 2 best friends. She completely maximumed out the card with those purchases, a laptop, and movies, all in the span of a few hours. Of course the management was ecstatic. A huge sale and a credit card enrollment. Girl came in 7 months or so later, crying her eyes out, on the verge of going mental. Turns out she forgot to read the fine print. If the card isn't at $0 balance after the 6 months, you are not only charged the interest for all items that were purchased within those 6 months, but you are billed at your new interest rate of 21%. The girl was crying and making a scene. Her BF had left her shortly after her purchase. He wouldn't return the items to her, nor compensate her for her purchases. She worked a part-time for minimum wage, and didn't expect to have to pay this much. Unfortunately, there wasn't anything they were willing to do to help the girl out. But to be fair, I don't think the credit card was her only mistake. She didn't get ducked over by the store cards. She ducked over her.
I don't know what to say to that, man. That's tough. That's crazy. Sheesh, man. Yo. It's a cold world out here, man. Stay bundled up. But I think the basic premise is before you worry about an income issue, worry about your money management issues first. Manage your money. How are you currently managing money? How much of your current paycheck? Let me know. How much of your current paycheck are you currently saving in your savings accounts? And then once you paid yourself first, you manage your expenses. Now you can look at other ways to make more money, right? Increase your expenses, increase your income. Arguably, one of my most favorite side hustles is doing paid surveys, or paid studies, or paid focus groups, right? If you just type in paid focus groups Ottawa, paid focus group Los Angeles, paid focus groups Oregon, paid focus groups California, or paid focus groups New York, some shit like that, right? And then all these in-person paid groups usually are worth the time and the money. But online paid surveys, do not waste your time with that shit. For the most part, they're a scam. They collect all this information, all these details about you, but by the time it comes to cash out and to give a payment, they rarely, if ever, pay you. Right? I've tried that, and it is the most trash ROI of your time out there. So do paid in-person surveys or online focus groups or some shit like that. But in-person stuff is probably the most bona fide way to ensure that you get paid for your efforts. But yo, stack your money, act broke, get your bread, and all the crumbs too. How are you lot doing today? Say it with me. I'm doing more, saying less, and keeping that same energy. As always, remember, if it doesn't feed you, don't water it. And too much or any good thing is good for nothing. Watch my past video on debt settlements and how to get out of credit card debt faster by doing debt settlement or debt consolidation. Or watch my other video on why actors go broke and why they are not as rich as you may think they are. Alright, deuces.
The TTC, nigga. 2 bones, I'ma walk in for free, nigga. Yeah, you wanna check my ID, nigga? Don't make me come and girk you in your knee.